Hey, welcome to Nice Vintage Tech. Today we have a trash-picked Pentium III that I saved out of a neighbor's trailer as he was heading to the scrapyard. It spent some time out in the weather, definitely got rained on, so I don't know if anything works in here, but if it does, it's going to go inside this Thermaltake Tsunami Dream case. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, there's a few things I know about this case and a lot of stuff I don't. The few things I know I'll go over right now: it's an Antec case. It's got a 250 watt power supply that is very dead. I threw it on the tester the other day and it made sparks and didn't last very long. It does have an ASUS motherboard, a CUBX-E. Apparently that's very sought after when I searched it, so hopefully it works. And that's about it. There's not much else to tell you, so let's just dig in. All right, so let's get the video card out. I'm not going to bother doing an overhead shot on this because it's just a tear down right now. We have an ATI something or other. All right, it looks like it's an ATI Rage Pro Turbo AGP card. Not sure how much RAM is on there. Probably not a lot, maybe 16 or 32. Looks pretty standard. Hopefully that works. I'll keep it if it does, use it in some other projects. Now this project, because it's going in this case, I do want it to be a sweet Pentium III gaming system. So I'm going to put a high-end AGP card in this thing, lots of RAM, and I'm going to see how far I can max this processor out to. It is a socket 370, so at least it can go to 1000 megahertz, maybe 1.4 gigahertz. We'll see. I don't know if the motherboard's compatible with those later processors, but we'll find out. All right, the next card, it looks like it is a D-Link PCI card, I think. Based on the part number, or I would say D-Link maybe, but there's no, okay. Yeah, it is a D-Link card. I had to see the actual logo on the PCI slot there, but yeah, that might be useful if it works. Probably just 10100. I prefer gigabit, especially if I'm doing something like this, and the cards are cheap enough and you can get them new, so why not? Next thing to pop out is some RAM, 128 meg, 100 megahertz, 32 by 64 DIMM. Nothing fancy there. I'll clean it up. It'll just go in the pile if it works. Use it on something else. All right, the next thing to come out is an ASUS USB slot. It's just something that plugs into the header on the board. I'll probably use something better. This is kind of e-waste at that point. Might be useful to somebody. Got a little PC speaker here. If it is the right size, I might throw this in my Apple IIc project I'm going to be building soon. If it works, it might be the right size, so I'll hold on to this. Okay, we got the motherboard out. It is very dirty, but I don't see any corrosion. I'll take a close-up picture of this afterwards, and you'll see it overlaid here. All right, it is an ASUS CUBX-E FC PGA motherboard with a date code of 2/19/2001. So I assume it was a PC manufacturer back in the day. A lot of small traces on the back of this board. Everything looks clean. I don't see any corrosion, luckily. The ports look pretty good too. It's got a parallel 2 serial, USB, and PS2 keyboard and mouse. All of the caps appear to be good. They are not bulging. It does have a USB front panel header right there. I'll definitely be using that on this. Yeah, 2 ISA and 5 PCI with an AGP slot right there. And there's your Pentium socket 370, Pentium III. So like I said, it's a 700 megahertz Pentium that's in there right now. I'm going to see what I can top that out at. And 4 RAM slots. So yeah, I'm also going to see what I can top the RAM out at too. Probably 1 gig if I had to guess. We'll see. So yeah, this looks really clean. I don't think we're gonna have a problem getting this thing to work, unless there was already a problem with it. But as far as what the weather could have done, it looks like it was mostly unscathed. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take this down into the kitchen sink, get it thoroughly washed, thoroughly dried, and I'll see you in a bit. All right, I'm back. So I was able to get the motherboard completely washed up. dried up, cleaned really good. I did a close inspection of all the contacts. Everything seems to be very clean, no corrosion anywhere. I put a gig of RAM in there. I put the 700 megahertz processor back on, and yeah, new CMOS battery. Other than that, everything is just the way I left it in the last clip. So I am also going to be adding a Sound Blaster Live card, a Adaptec USB 2 Firewire 400 card, a PCI Gigabit Ethernet card, and the video card is going to be an NVIDIA Quadro 4. So that's going to be pretty decent gaming experience on this thing. Now, as far as operating system, I could go with anywhere from Windows 98 to XP comfortably. I think I'm going to go with XP just for the ease of use. 98 is great and all, but it also has a lot of things you got to update to get USB working and other minor things like that. And for what I'm going to be doing, just driver support in general will be better on XP. I do have a 80 gig Samsung 7200 RPM IDE hard drive I'll be installing, and the case already does have a 400 watt Cooler Master power supply, DVD-RW drive, 250 meg zip disk, and a few other small things we'll get into as I put it back together. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this out and slide the case into frame, and we'll get started. All right, so the first thing I'm going to be doing is making sure that the I/O cover that came with the motherboard in the old case will go right back into this one. Now, the older style motherboards back then didn't exactly have one of these nice, easy things to pop in there. This was just becoming a thing. What a lot of them did have was this little thing right here. It's like a little plate that slips in. This case is compatible with both, luckily, so that's an easy retrofit. I do happen to have the original one that came with the case that I've never used because, like the good hoarder I am, I've kept all of the original stuff that came with this case that I never used in a little baggie. Unfortunately, like I said, I've lost the thumb screws, the elongated thumb screws that would go into the grommets on the hard drive cage, but I'll end up putting SSDs in there and I won't have to worry about vibration. So I'm going to not put this one in only because it has a cutout for Ethernet, which this case or this motherboard does not have. So I'm going to be going with the original one that came out of the old case. All right, so that was a little bit of a tight fit, but you kind of want that because you want it to be precise. Now that we got that in, we could drop the motherboard in. As always, you want to come in at an angle with the I/O going in first. So this particular case has a little nub right here that you can see. Kind of holds the motherboard in place so you can put all the other screws in. Now, a couple of these screws are off by just a smidge, and I think that is just a little bit of an alignment issue with that I/O cover. So we'll go ahead and get that quick inspection, make sure there's nothing bent and in the way, and we'll get right to that. Okay, one thing I noticed real quick, I did a double check, I'm glad I did. There was a little motherboard stud that is not used on this particular motherboard. So you want to take that out because otherwise it could be shorting out something on the back. And, you know, 1/2 penny worth of material can ruin a whole motherboard. So you don't need that in there. Another quick visual inspection, make sure everything that needs to be in there is going to be in there. There's another one right here that's a little extra, so let's get that out. Okay, it looks good. Let's go ahead and put it back in. Now, unsurprisingly, it is fitting better now without those little things in the way. Because this board has a Promise ATA controller built in, I can go ahead and connect the CD-ROM to the primary IDE, and these little blue connectors here are for the Ultra ATA 100 Promise chip that's already built into this board. This case does have front or top I/O, I should say. So we're going to go ahead and plug this in. Now, newer USB 2 cables are a solid cable like this and it's keyed. This one you got to pay attention to because it splits in half. So let's connect this properly. Now, the other connectors that I am not going to be able to connect right away are the top audio and the top 1394 Firewire 400 cable. I'm just going to stuff these up in here for now because they're not going to be used. And then I do have a floppy drive as well that needs to be plugged in. Now, if I manage to plug in the floppy drive backwards, you'll see a solid green light on the floppy indicator. That's an easy tell that you just need to, flip your cable on the floppy side. Now, that little twist in the cable that you see as well should also be on this floppy side of the drive. Next one we have here is our 80 wire 40 pin cable here for the ATA 100 connection. Now, to benefit from the faster speeds, you do need the 80 wire cable. Now, before we get the hard drive put in there, we have some more front panel connectors here we need to route. And I'm going to refer to the manual because they are labeled but very fine print. So I'm going to pull that out. All right, so the front panel connectors this has on this case are reset switch, hard drive LED, power LED, and power switch. So let's do the reset switch quick, since that's the one furthest to the right. And this case didn't come with RGB back then, but it came with B. So there's blue LEDs that light up the front. Those just connect to a standard power supply connector. So that will be routed up this way then, out of the way for now. Now that those are in, you can go ahead and cable manage a little bit, and then your hard drive cage slides right in now that the wires are out of the way. This is the hardest part about doing these installs from back in the day, is the power supplies were not yet modular. So you had a lot of cables in the way. So zip ties were your friend, stuff like that. Okay, we don't have any GPU cables to connect. So all these cables that I am not using are going to be zip tied up and out of the way. So it looks like we have just barely enough power connectors for this build. Okay, we have an issue with our power supply. We do not have enough connector. Well, we have enough connectors, but they don't reach everything. So I'm going to move the hard drive up one bay up. Okay, now that I got that moved up another slot, that should hopefully give us enough room that we need. So pretty much all I have to do is find an extension to go from this to my zip drive, and everything will be plugged in then. So I wanted to make sure the floppy drive is plugged in, because you do need that. So there we go, hard drive is plugged in, floppy is plugged in, CD-ROM is plugged in. The only thing I'm missing is the floppy drive. So I'm going to see if I have a cable line around I can find real quick, and I'll see if I can throw that together. If not, I'm going to go without a zip drive. Not a big deal. I just need to pop out one of the PCI covers to make that fit, because the AGP card fits pretty high. The other thing I'm seeing might be an issue here is the way the cables are laid. Okay, it wasn't too bad. Took a little bit of cable finagling, but got that to work. All right, so the next thing to put in will be the USB FireWire card. I'll need a cable adapter, but I'll be able to plug in the USB on the another front panel I have here as well once I get that cable. Not a big deal. Next one will be the Ethernet adapter. And the sound card. Okay, now that I got everything in here, it's just left down to cable management and installing Windows. I'll see you in a second. All right, here we go. I got everything installed, Windows XP installed, all the updates, drivers, a couple games, and you might notice the video card I put in here originally sitting on the desk here. Well, it's an 8X card. I didn't think about this when I was putting my parts list together. Incompatible with that motherboard. It will fit, it'll just give you some garbage on the screen here and it won't look that great. So I took this out. I was able to find a GeForce 2 200 card with 32 mega RAM. It's a decent card, it's not the greatest, but it will work. It's definitely better than the one that came with it, which was a very basic ATI card. Like 2 mega RAM, it would have been horrible for any performance on here. So speaking of which, I've got CPU-Z opened up here, basically just telling us the information about the processor I've got in here. Nothing I didn't tell you already. 1 gig of RAM showing up, 702 megahertz, so 2 megahertz free. So, got everything else working on here, got sound working. Because of the delay on the video card problem I had, I was able to get these little things from Amazon It is a SATA to Molex connector. That way I was able to get my zip drive installed with power. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the front panel here. And you're going to see the CD-ROM, DVD drive, DVD burner, zip drive. I've got a SD card reader with a USB front port, a floppy disk, and a bunch of case badges from old systems I've had in this thing. You might recognize the AMD 64. That's one of the, I think that was the first processor motherboard combo I put in this thing back when I bought it in the early 2000s. So nice little case, decent airflow. You know, nothing's getting too hot. It's working just fine. So let's go ahead and start up Half-Life. All right. I always forget that you start off on the tram, and it's a long ride. So let's get out of this and go to the hazard course. Wow, sensitivity is not the greatest on this. Okay, I was getting 12 frames a second in Half-Life, so let me do some changes here. Okay, here we go. In 800 by 600, I'm getting much smoother, 60 frames per second, which is where about where you want it for this game. So that's Half-Life pre-Steam edition. This is back when it was Sierra Online. I'm not going to go into playing the whole game because I don't have a decent save point started. But 800 by 600 back in the year 2000 was acceptable to me. You know, now it wouldn't be unless I was playing Minesweeper, but it's not that bad for this. Let's go ahead and quit that. If I had a better save game on this computer, which I don't, everything's a fresh install, it'd be a little bit more fun, but I do have Unreal Tournament on here. So let's take a look at that, because that is definitely what I was playing back on a Pentium III in the year 2000. Pretty much from 99 until 2001, I was playing Unreal Tournament. Now, you'd think I'd be better, but I'm not. I am very out of practice. Okay, let's see how bad or good I'm going to be. Oh, I keep forgetting I mapped ASWD. Whoa. I think I have it on like medium level hard. I should have definitely been dead. Whoa. There we go. Yep, I'm pretty sure he's behind me. I'll take that. Whoa. That was too easy. Oh, I walked into that one. All right. I'm not that great. I won. It wasn't an easy setting, but it was easy. It's like the second level after intro. So that is very playable. The game came out in like 98, 99. So this computer being made in the year 2000, easily ready to handle that. The AGP card in there came out of a Pentium 4, so that as well, easily able to handle games of the 90s without any issue. This is a great computer in a great case. I am very happy to have saved it off the back of a trailer that was heading to the dump. I think that by itself makes this thing an amazing find. It's a great little Pentium 3. I can probably get this thing up to a 1400. Pentium 3 1.4 gigahertz with a little modification. I did see that some people out there had the tantalum, however you pronounce it, Pentium 3s in here with a little like socket 370 adapter. I'm not sure I want to go that far into it. 1 gigahertz is going to be just fine for me. The 1.1 gigahertz Celeron worked in these things, so I'm willing to bet that a 1.1 gigahertz Pentium 3 would also work just fine. So closing up on all this, this is just a great system. I'm very happy with it. I've got all the cards in it that need to be in it. All the RAM is in it. Camera just died on me, but it was only looking at this. That's fine. Just move that out of the way. So I've got everything I need in this thing. I'm happy with where it's at. I would probably get a faster processor and a better video card, but overall it's not terrible. And it's a great repurpose of an old case that's been sitting in my garage since I moved into this house. So I'm very happy that everything worked. Now when I do get my garage fully set up, this is definitely going to be one of my LAN party machines right here. This, the HP server, the gateway tower you've seen before. I'm going to have several of those up and ready to go as soon as I have my garage cleaned out, which means 5 to 10 years. So realistically, hopefully by this winter, all that should be done. But once again, happy to have it done. Do you think I should have put Windows 98 in it? Is XP fine for what it is? Or Windows ME? What do you guys think? Leave comments below. Let me know what you like, what you would like to see on this thing. I'm definitely open to doing other things with this. I think I'm definitely going to try Linux on it. I think it'll run that just fine with the hardware and everything included here. Like, subscribe, let me know what else you guys want to see, and I'll see what I can do. Thank you very much. Take care.